Hey, it's Benjamin. Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I want to show you the 4 steps to unfucking your wholesale business. With that said, I want to start off with a question. If you're a wholesaler, let me know if this resonates with you or this is something you're going through right now. Your current lead flow is extremely inconsistent, and the quality can be best described as sellers who want 200% of the after repair value. Your sales team is so bad, they can't close an open door. With that said, they probably suck. You know it, and they know it. But the bad thing about that is that you let it slide. Next, you have absolutely no idea where your next wholesale deal is going to come from, how to forecast or run projections, or better yet, you don't even know if your company's profitable. And finally, your team is as lazy as a teenager working at McDonald's. In other words, your employees are just working hard enough to keep their job. There's absolutely no signs of effective leadership or management. And finally, tasks as well as action items slip through the cracks. Now, the reason why I mentioned this is because this is probably something you're going through right now. Now, before I proceed, if any of that sounds relatable or if that's something you're going through right now, that's good. Because in this video, like I said, I'm going to break down the 4 steps that we're going to take to fix any wholesaling business that comes to us. And transparently, if you struggle to watch this video in its entirety, you either got offended or you don't want to scale your wholesaling company fast enough. And by the way, my name is Ben, CEO and founder here at Bolt Deals. And over the last 4 years, I generated a little over $15 million in documented assignment fees for real estate investors and flippers. And to this day, we manage a little over $520,000 per month in ad spend across Facebook and PPC for our clients. And right now, we have clients that do anywhere from 2 deals per month on the low end to as many as 50 deals per month on the high end. Now, with that said, let's dive straight to the iPad and talk about the first pillar to unfucking your business. And that starts with generating qualified sellers who actually need to sell as opposed to just wanting to sell, right? And if you're unaware already, leads and opportunities is the bloodline of any business, regardless of whether you're wholesaling, regardless of whether you're a coach, a consultant, whatever the case is, you need to have leads, because if you don't have leads, you don't have a business, right? You can have everything else. You can have your website, your trackers, your funnels, your landing pages, all that. But if you don't have leads, people to actually speak to and call and sell, get money from them, it's going to be hard to scale any business, right? So for us, we start with leads, but not just leads. We focus on targeting qualified opportunities, or in this case, we call them MQLs. So the beautiful thing about an MQL, or a marketing qualified lead, is somebody who's actually qualified as opposed to just being a lead. Because whenever you're working with agencies or you're just running ads yourself or however you're generating leads at the moment, a lead is simply defined as a contact, right? So if somebody gives you their phone number, they're a lead. That is completely different from a marketing qualified lead where they stated, hey, I want to sell my house in 90 days or less. I'm going through XYZ pain point or foreclosure. I can't make my mortgage payments, whatever the case is. So for us, we have our own specific criteria of what we identify as a marketing qualified lead, so we know what we are optimizing for within our marketing. Here's a better example. If you're running cold calling right now, lead is just a list of people, list of name, emails, phone numbers, addresses. But what you're really looking for is the sellers who actually are qualified and actually want an offer. That is a marketing qualified lead, which are 2 completely different things, right? So in this case, are we optimizing for an MQL or are we optimizing for most amount of leads? The question is, or the answer should be, marketing qualified leads, right? And for us, the slogan that we have is sellers who are serious, not curious about selling the property. So the first step into identifying what an MQL is for you are a few main steps, right? The first is your markets. What markets are you targeting? For us, for example, we have clients that are doing local, local plus, or nationwide. So let's break that down. Local is basically, let's just say you're doing Houston and a 1 hour radius, right? So a 50-mile radius as an example, right? And local plus is pretty much multiple cities within a given state, as an example. So if you're in the state of Texas, which is where we're at right now, you're doing Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Midland, Odessa, like all those markets. That's us, is how we identify and what we call local plus. And then there's nationwide, which is, as it sounds, you're nationwide. Some people also talk about semi-nationwide. So you're doing like 4 to 5 states around the entire country. So for you, start by identifying what markets you want to go into. But the biggest thing about markets is that you want to make sure you're going into markets that actually have buyers and buyer activity, as opposed to just going in, the boonies is what we like to call it, right? Because if you're going to the boonies, it's going to be harder to comp a deal. And let's say you get it under contract, it's going to be really, really difficult to actually sell that deal, right? So start with the markets. Second thing is platform, right? what do we mean by platform? So for us and our clients, we primarily use two channels of advertising, right? It's one or the other. Sometimes it's both. We use either Facebook ads or Google ads, right? Also known as pay-per-click. Let's start with identifying what Facebook ads is first. Facebook ads is best optimized for volume over quality, right? Anybody that tells you otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about, right? Because the way Facebook works is it is considered disruptive marketing. What do I mean by that? As you're scrolling and an ad pops up, it disturbs or disrupts your feed. That's disruptive marketing, also known as Facebook ads. And their billing process works as you're paying for impressions. So you're paying for digital real estate. You're paying for space on Facebook feed, right? On PPC, on the other hand, it's a higher quality lead. It gets triggered when you type in a keyword like sell my house fast. Your ad will pop up on the top. They click it, fill out a form, etc. Right? And with PPC, it's pay per click. That's literally what PPC stands for. So you're paying per click. And as a result, the lead quality is a lot better. And what that does for you and your team is that your lead to contract rate is a lot higher. And what that means is it takes less leads to convert into actual deals, right? So platform, right? Facebook, in simple terms, is cheaper. PPC is a little bit more expensive and more competitive, right? Marketing budget. Let's dive into this. This has a lot to do with the first two, right? It has a lot to do with the first two of how many markets are you going into and what platforms are you using, right? We're going to dive deeper in a second here, but the more markets you go into, the cheaper it gets. You may be asking me, wait, Ben, I thought it was actually the other way around. But I'm glad, I really want to share this because a lot of investors have this misconception that the more markets you go into, the more expensive it gets. But it's actually the other way around. The more markets you go into, the cheaper it gets, right? So the question for you is, if you have the capabilities to go into more markets and it's cheaper, meaning you're going to get more leads at the same amount of ad spend, why wouldn't you, right? Assuming you have your dispo, like I said, dialed in. And the reason why that happens is called the domino, or what I like to call the domino effect, right? When you give Facebook or PPC the opportunity to reach more people because you're targeting more locations, it's the CPMs or cost to reach 1,000 people, it goes down. And as a domino effect, as a snowball effect, everything else goes down, right? So if your CPMs go down, your cost per click goes down, cost per lead, cost per appointment, cost per deal goes down, but your return on ad spend goes up, which is what we are optimizing for. Our return on ad spend, or ROAS, which you're going to hear me talk about throughout this video, basically tells us how profitable and efficient our marketing campaign is, right? Everything is based on percentages as the way we look at it. And finally, projections. Once you have your baseline KPIs, we are able to project, and it's going to be one of the last things we're going to cover here, of how many leads or how much money do we have to put in and what results are we going to get out of it. For example, if we put in $5,000 in ad spend to Facebook, to Google, how many leads, how many appointments, how many contracts, how many deals are we going to get out of that, right? That's the point of running projections. It gives us clarity of what we're going to get from what we put in, right? Which is really, really powerful, as opposed to just throwing shit out of the wall and hoping it sticks, right? So the next thing I want to talk about here, it's a little tiny, but I'll pull it up right now, is the top markets per state breakdown. So I actually have a sheet right here, and basically this is a sheet that we give to our clients to show them what are the best markets to go into when it comes to wholesaling, novations, credit finance, things like that. And obviously you have top markets per state, and this is something that we give all of our clients. That way we can help them choose markets because we have the data to back it up, right? So that's how we start off when it comes to think of these as preliminary action items before actually setting up inbound marketing, right? So what markets you want to go into, what platforms you want to choose, that's Facebook or PPC, your marketing budget, and finally projections. That way you know what you're going to get as opposed to just figuring it out as you go. That to me is not something I really want to do. Now, let's talk about our lead gen strategy. Right here, we're going to talk about both Facebook and PPC at the same time, but it's easier, I should say, to visualize Facebook. Now, why is this important? Obviously, the goal here is to attract inbound sellers who are serious, not curious about selling, right? So here's how we do that. When it comes to Facebook, we have 4 different ads, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. These are just simply examples. And the biggest thing about this is you may have seen generic We Buy Houses, cash offer as is ads, and those work, Don't get me wrong, those work. That's why people run them. But for us, we actually want to go a step deeper and focus specifically on motivations, for example, on Facebook, right? So we have an ad right here that says foreclosure. We have one that says, don't lose your home in a bank, right? Bad tenant. So this is like a tire landlord, and then pre-foreclosure, right? And then typically, whenever a seller clicks on that ad, it gets redirected to a landing page or a lead form, right? And on PPC, obviously they're going to click on the wording, right? So it's going to be a headline. I put a screenshot here, but it's going to be like, we buy houses in XYZ, or facing foreclosure, recently divorced, things like that. We are calling out the pain point. And the reason why we target motivations and pain points is because what I've noticed is people operate better when there is something that is right behind them that's about to chase them down, right? The human brain is meant to survive, not thrive. So that's pretty much the psychology behind our marketing, if that makes sense. So on Facebook and PPC, whenever somebody clicks on that ad, it goes to a landing page or a lead form. A lead form, if you don't know, is simply a native form on Facebook where you can submit their information. For us, we like to go landing pages because we have more control, because we already know what works and it improves lead quality. But lead form is great if you're just trying to push volume, right? And then from there, on the form, we try to get the 4 main pillars from them. So that's motivation, timeline, property info, and the price, right? So these to us are the 4 main pillars. And then, or at least it's 3 steps. Well, let's take a step back. Our funnel has 3 main steps. The first one, we're getting motivation, timeline, asking price, flexibility in their asking price. Is it listed? Questions like that, like preliminary questions. And then on the second page right here, property information form, we're getting property information. So what type of property they are, reason for wanting to sell. Sometimes we mix the questions around. What is their asking price? Are they flexible? Occupancy? How long have they owned it? Are they behind on mortgage payments? So like I said, these are some of the questions. Bedroom, bathroom, square footage, basement, how's their AC, things like that. Now, step 3 of the funnel is we actually give the seller the option to book an appointment directly on our calendar. And why do we do this? Because it speeds up the process, right? There's less moving parts, and it just goes directly to the acquisition manager. And the beautiful thing is the acquisition manager gets all the information, property information, their current situation, things like that. That way they can run their numbers, do their due diligence before even hopping on, right? Now, that's not all. After they schedule the appointment, it goes to a thank you page, obviously, where the seller is able to call the acquisition manager and the company directly. Why do we do this? You may have heard of the term speed to lead. And the way it works is there was actually a study from Harvard Business where if you contact your lead after 5 minutes of them opting in, after them submitting their information, and you don't call them after that 5 minutes, your chances of closing that deal and getting that deal decreases by 70%, right? So you're like a 30%. You went from 100 to 70%. So for us, it's like, how can we fix that? For us, I was sitting down with one of our clients, All Pro, and Greenbelt. Greenbelt's from California, and then All Pro's also from Southern California, not Northern. And we talked to them, and the idea that came to mind was, what if we gave the seller the option to call us directly? We tested that, and that just started pumping. Our contact rates with the sellers drastically increased. Our lead to contract rates also, as a result, drastically increased, because one of the biggest issues and biggest constraints in a lot of wholesaling companies is simply just contacting the seller. So if we have the seller contact us, we go a step further, we go a step deeper into inbound marketing. And this is why I love this process so much. I have not seen many people do this, if anybody at all, especially in the inbound marketing space. But this is something that we do for our clients that has worked out tremendously. It's a simple change that yields a massive throughput or result, right? Now, everything I just mentioned here is strictly top of funnel cold traffic. Now, you may be wondering, what is cold traffic? The easiest way to think about it is people who have never heard about you and are just seeing you for the first time. That is cold traffic. Now, I want to dive into retargeting, right? What is retargeting? What is retargeting ads? What's the purpose of it? Why do we do it? What are the benefits? The reason we do it is so we can acquire leads at 50 to 60% discounts. For example, if on average it takes $100 to acquire a single lead, when you run retargeting ads, people that have clicked but might not submit that haven't submitted their information, we're able to get them for $50 to $60 as opposed to spending the $100. think of retargeting as low-hanging fruit, and all you have to do is pluck it from the tree. That's why we run retargeting, right? So like I said right there, how do we do this? Is retargeting ads? What is it? The easiest way to explain middle of funnel retargeting campaigns is to give you or give us another shot at welcoming the seller into our sales ecosystem, right? Because if you look at everything is a marketing and sales ecosystem. Before they see us, before they submit their information, they're simply within our marketing ecosystem. They've seen us. They might have clicked, but might not have submitted, etc. But the second they submit their information, they transfer into our sales ecosystem, right? So what is the action item behind this? Now, I want to mention, you may see me talk about action items a lot. And the reason why I do that is because I want to explain something and make sure you have clear takeaways that you could write down and actually execute on it, as opposed to just writing things down and never looking at it again. That doesn't benefit you. That's a waste of your time. And my goal here is to not waste your time and actually make you money before you even know before I even get the chance to meet you, which I think would be cool. But anyways, topic for another day. How do we do this? We set up middle funnel retargeting campaigns with the winning creatives. So as you can see right here, this is a perfect example. This is just an example. That way I can illustrate it. The pixel. Most people, funny enough, don't know what a pixel is. And I always forget that not everybody's a marketer. Most people that I speak to are real estate investors. So they invest in real estate. They're good at talking to contractors, not punching buttons on a computer. I guess that's just me, right? A pixel. So basically a pixel is a piece of code on your website, on your landing page, with two main objectives. First thing is conversion tracking, right? It's able to help us track when a lead submits, when they schedule an appointment, things of that sort. And it's able to help us track audiences, right? It comes up with custom audiences, things like that. So for example, if you've ever clicked on an ad for, I don't know, like headphones or something, right? And all of a sudden you see all these ads about retargeting. That's the pixel working, right? So for us in the real estate space, we use the pixel. We use it for tracking KPIs, so conversion tracking, as well as creating custom audiences to retarget, build that pixel, build that data within our accounts. Because one of the most valuable things whenever you're running inbound marketing is not only the leads that you're going to get and the money you're going to make from them, but the data that's within your account, within your pixel. There are people that sell pixels. There are people that trade pixels, because one pixel might have better data than another pixel. And the funny thing is, diving into pixels, I know this is a little bit boring, but it's literally what makes or break quality. The way we operate is for our clients is we have to train our Facebook ads and Google ads pixel. Google ads, they call it a tag manager, but it's the same shit, same thing. So we have to consistently train our pixel and tell them like, hey, this is what a good lead looks like versus this is what a bad lead looks like. And we have to consistently train them and almost brainwash the pixel into only getting us this specific type of lead, also known as an MQL or marketing qualified lead that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And then we use other things like conditional logic, where we would route a lead differently based off of their answers to push them away from touching that pixel, right? We don't want to infect the pixel with a virus. A bad lead to a pixel is like a virus to a pixel, right? I hope that makes sense. But anyways, custom audiences, like I said, this is how we run retargeting. So we have specific themed engagements on our Instagram, on our Facebook, when they scheduled, first interactions, retargeting audience, web visitors, things like that. And the beautiful thing about retargeting ads is we have clients right now where, let's say they're running PPC as their top of funnel cold traffic. And let's say somebody clicks on their ad on PPC, pay-per-click Google ads, but doesn't submit their information. We're actually able to tag them and retarget them on Facebook. So now you're hitting them from both angles, right? You're hitting them from both angles, and that gives you the opportunity to get leads at a deeper discount, right? So this also helps for our clients whenever they're really trying to take over a market. This is how it works, right? When you're everywhere in front of the seller and you put your competition in the dust. That's the goal with our clients. We want to put our competitors not only out of business, but never look at this wholesaling real estate business ever again, because you can't have two people in first place, right? So This is just two things. We haven't even talked about bottom of funnel. And to us, bottom of funnel is once they're in your system, drift sequences, ringless voicemails, text messages, things like that. But I want to start with the inbound marketing just for now. We can talk about that later. But the result of effective marketing, profitable marketing campaigns, is qualified seller opportunities, also known as an MQL, or a marketing qualified lead. Then comes acquisitions, also known as sales or closing. For us, I define sales or acquisitions as taking that opportunity and turning it into a contract. That's to us, that to me is what acquisitions is. That's what sales is, right? So good marketing produces qualified opportunities. That's it. That's all marketing should do. Sales takes that opportunity and converts it into cash, or in this case, a contract, right? Let's start with the basics of acquisitions. At least this is how we do it. My goal here is you take these principles, take these concepts, and implement it into your business. I'm not telling you to implement everything. Just implement what you like and what you feel would, if implemented into your company, would yield the most result, right? Solving for constraints here. Don't do things just because it sounds cool. Do things to solve a problem. If you do things to just sound cool, in my opinion, you're an idiot. Not you, but people that do this, you guys get it. So do things to solve a problem. Again, this is what we do and what works for us, right? My goal with this channel is to document what works for us. Let's talk about speed to lead. You already heard me, or hopefully you were listening in a previous section about marketing, the importance of speed to lead. But let's just say a seller does not call us and you don't have that process set up. Speed to lead, our KPI is X less than 5 minutes, based off of the Harvard Business Review, where after 5 minutes, the chances of you closing that lead decrease by 70%. Anything over that, like I said, literally what I said. Next is contact rates. Ben, what the hell is contact rates? I'm here to tell you. Contact rates is basically if you call or dial 10 people, 100 people, how many of them actually connect? What is the connection rate? That's what some people call them as well. For us, its KPI is X equals or less than, is less than or equal to, or excuse me, it's supposed to be this way actually. So it's supposed to be X is greater than or equal to 10%. So I wrote that wrong. My apologies, guys. So our contact rate, we want it to be above 10%. Now, there's various things we can do in order to make this happen. The first one is simple, just changing up your phone number. Call yourself right now, have one of your acquisition managers call you on your personal phone. And if you show up as spam, that's probably why your pickup rate or connection rate is dog shit, right? Change your number or get it verified. There's a bunch of online VoIP number verifications that you can use in order to get your numbers verified. Because if you simply just double, we're going to talk about theory of constraints later, but let's say you're doing let's say you're doing 5 deals a month right now and your contact rate is 10%. If you double your contact rate and everything else stays the same, you've doubled the amount of deals that you close. So I hope you guys stayed with me there. I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna dive deeper into that in a second. But that's how theory of constraints work. We're gonna talk about that later. But that's one thing you can do. Now, if you're a virtual wholesaler, something else you can do is local presence dialing. What is it? It's basically a feature in some CRMs where if you call somebody from a different area code, so for example, if I'm here in Houston, Texas, and or I'm actually in Austin now, but Austin's zip code is 512. Houston is like 832 as an example. If I call somebody in North Carolina with an 832 area code, they're probably not going to answer. They're going to be like, why the hell is somebody from Houston or Austin calling me? But if I call them from a 919 area code, which is a North Carolina area code, they're probably going to answer, or the chances and odds of them answering is a lot higher, right? So that's what local presence dialing is. There's Alloware, there's Kixi, there's a bunch, right? Next, our intro and discovery call. For us, when it comes to most of our clients, what I've noticed is that they leverage a 2-call sales process. Some people do a 1-call sales process, but most of the people that I speak to and our clients, they do a 2-call sales process, right? So there's your discovery phase, which is probably done by a lead manager, and then there's the acquisition manager, which actually does the closing. So the way we break it down is connecting phase. Hey, seller, I saw you submitted your form about selling your property on 123 Main Street. what got you to click on it, right? What got you to submit your information? Oh, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, or I saw this, I saw, great. They're literally telling you why they clicked on your ad, and you can use that as ammo in the sale or in the close. Next, state the agenda. Why do we state the agenda? That way they have proper expectations. They don't get disappointed. And if you don't know, people being disappointed is defined as an expectation not being met. That's what being disappointed means. So for us, we want to set expectation. And if you're dealing with an A-type personality, they don't walk all over you, right? So hold your frame. Problem awareness. Hey, what are you going through right now? How long has that been going on for? Has it had impact on you? What are you going to do if nothing changes? Yada, 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 right? It's consequence and set. Hey, I'll appreciate these notes. Appreciate the information you gave me. It truly means a lot. We want to provide the A+ customer service, and we want to put you as VIP authority, yada, yada, yada. Can you speak with our home buying specialist tomorrow at 3 p.m.? Is that going to work for you? We're going to do a phone call, yada, yada, yada. You guys get the point, right? Offer call, you clarify the current situation, make them aware, like, hey, is this all correct? Present, so you run your numbers. This is really the negotiation, objection handling. I need to think about it. Wife, husband, can I talk to my lawyer? I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm the best sales trainer, but I know how to navigate objections, because if we take all of this, sales is simply just having a conversation, right? Just normal conversation. Normal conversation. If you talk to the seller as a normal human being, I'm not the biggest fan of scripts. I use frameworks, because if the seller throws a curveball at you and you look at the script and it's not there, you're like, ah, shit, what the fuck do I do? Right? So I like to have frameworks. I like to be present in the call, be actively listening to what the seller and what they are saying, right? And this is why most acquisition managers, this is why they suck, right? When I speak with them, they're going off the script, which is not a problem. There's nothing wrong with scripts. I'm here to tell you there's absolutely nothing wrong with scripts. I just don't like them for what I'm trying to accomplish and the conversations that I have with sellers, right? So sales is simply conversation, right? It's persuasion and the ability to influence, but we'll talk about that later. Next, this is something that I've used that I guarantee you can implement into your business right now, today, in order to get hopefully an extra deal or two within your company. And I call it, it's one of our follow-up strategies. It's called the feedback call. And here's the way it works, and here's why I believe it works so well. After a few days after you speak with the seller, you make that offer, and they say they need to think about it, they need 3 days, 5 days, a week to think about it. Call them out of the blue, right? Just have a hot list, call them out of the blue, and here's the way you want to frame it. You want to go in with the mindset of simply asking the seller for feedback, right? Here's how, let's role play it real quick. Hey, Joe, I know it's Ben from Bulk Cash Offers. We spoke earlier this week about acquiring or buying your property on 123 Main Street. Is that ring a bell? They say, yes. Cool. I'm one of the managers here, and I just wanted to reach out to get feedback for Joe as to what he could have done better and what we could do to provide a better experience for you and your current situation of going through XYZ. They'll most of the time, they'll be like, hey, Joe did great, but here's my real objection. Like, Joe was great, but the pricing was off. Great. Now you have the real objection, and now you can just cycle back, loop it, handle the objection, and go for the close, right? This is the one strategy that I implement into every single one of our clients and their sales process that at no cost gets us extra deals. It's a simple script. You can use it the way you want. And worst case, they give you feedback as to what you could have done better, right? They were like, hey man, he was a little pushy. I was like, oh, okay, I apologize about that. That aside, is there anything else that he could have improved on? No? Great. So I'm just curious, where do you stand now? Like, what do you plan on doing with the property? I know you're going through foreclosure, yada, yada, yada. It just gives you another shot. It's a different opening. It's a different connecting phase to go into asking what the real objection is and going for the close, right? I'm really excited about this. As you can see, I'm very passionate about it because it will make you so much money. And all I will tell you, I will look you in the camera right now. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I know this works. So everything aside, if you stop watching this video right now, which I hope you continue watching because I got better stuff, I am looking you in the camera right now to tell you, please implement. Just try on 10, 15 leads. 10, 15 appointments that you didn't close. There's zero risk because you might have already burned them, or they might have, they're probably still thinking about it. You're still probably on top of your mind. Point is, Just give it a shot. I'm looking at you in the camera, looking at you in the eye. Just call 10, 15 people. I promise you, I'm very, very confident that if you do it correctly, you will get another lead, right? Or worst case, you get a follow-up. So please try that. Don't even do it. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. Do yourself a favor. Make the money and get that deal. Hey, hope you're enjoying this video. By the way, if you're a virtual wholesaler who's closing 2 or more deals per month and you're looking to scale with the exact inbound marketing system that we used to generate 4, 5, or even 10x return on their ad spends with Facebook or PPC, click the link in the description or in the comments to schedule a call with either me or a member of my team, and I'd love to show you exactly how we can help. With that said, back to the video. So with that said, we just covered 2 main things to unfuck your wholesale business. Your marketing. How can you acquire leads? Sales or acquisitions, how can you convert those leads into contract? Now, let's talk about the next pillar that's probably broken, which is your team. They probably suck. You know it. They know it. Everybody and their mom knows it. We got to fix that because it's hard to scale to 15, 20 deals a month all alone. Now, I haven't seen it yet. So if you're the first one to do that, kudos to you. I'm super happy for you. Me personally, after doing this for 4 years, I haven't seen it yet. So let's dive straight in. Here's what I've noticed about most acquisition or most wholesalers and their teams. They're lazy, they clock in, they clock out. It's hard to build $1 million, $2 million, $3 million business when that is the mindset of your team, right? But there's bigger issues. Everybody sucks at their job, and it's your fault, right? So, oh man, I've seen wholesaling companies where their acquisition managers are so bad, like I said, they can't even close an open door. Their dispositions people don't even know what's happening. Their transaction coordinator is sitting on their ass with their thumb in their mouth because there's no deals, right? And then the CEO is clueless and he's shouting from the rooftops saying he has 12 different businesses. None of them are successful, but he has 12 different businesses. A joke for another time. Ooh, I'm having too much fun. Nothing's getting done and team productivity is at an all-time low. The way I define productivity is how much we get done, how many action items, high leverage action items we get done in a specific amount of time. Right? Nobody's getting things done. Your team, they're not getting better. Their skill set is terrible. You know that. And not you, but somebody who might be watching this. So no offense to you. We all start from somewhere, right? All the training in the world, and it's like nobody can save them. The only thing you do is hope and pray. And that will only get you so far as if your team is that bad. And the reason why I say this is because I've been there, right? I've had teams where under me where they're just genuinely bad. I'll be the first to admit it because the first step into improving something is admitting that it sucks, right? The first step in learning a new skill is admitting that you suck at it, right? Because otherwise you're just going to stroke your ego. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't make you any money. Next, you struggle to attract high-level talent. Oh, let's erase this. That was easy. You struggle to attract high-level talent to work with you and scale your business. Why do you struggle to attract them? Because high-level A players want an opportunity that's good for them. So I'm going to break this module down to a few steps, 3 main things, right? First thing is talent acquisition, right? I don't know where 2 and 3 are, but we'll dive into that later. Talent acquisition and effective leadership principles. So these are the 2 things that I want to go over. So we're going to talk about how we generate candidates, high-level A players, qualify them, and do application grading or candidate grading. I haven't seen anybody talk about this, but this is exactly what we do for our clients at our company, right? So I'm literally just documenting what we do and sharing it. Our interview process. This is how I interview. This is how I get to know, I was about to say prospects, get to know candidates to see if they're the right fit for us. Our onboarding process. The only thing that determines whether or not somebody's going to make it at your company is your onboarding process. If you train them like shit and you don't care about them, you just throw them in the pool and have them figure it out. Can they figure it out? Sure. Are they going to stay long? From my experience, no. If you have teams, your team members that's what you do with your team and they're staying with you, you tell me if they're any good, right? I'll be surprised, but hey, yeah, I digress. Next, day-to-day management. What should your day-to-day management look like? What does the structure, what is the process? How do you keep culture high, everybody's energy up? That way they're actually closing deals. Nobody wants to work for a sore loser, for lack of better terms. And finally, leadership principles that have served me drastically. I'm transparently, I'm really excited to go into the leadership because this is something that I have not seen with any business owner or any entrepreneur, any online wholesaling guru, because this is the boring shit, right? This is the boring shit that actually makes our clients money. Specifically from my experience and things I've learned from my client. A little side note, I started this business at the age of 15, bulk deals. I started when I was 15. I'm 19 now, so it's 2025. It'll be fun looking back on this video 10 years later. But I started this business when I was 15, and at 19, and now 19, so 4 years now. There is so many leadership principles that I've learned to be a better leader and not be a dictator, and that's what I see so many wholesalers, at least the ones that I've worked with. That's something that they can drastically improve on. They have absolutely no sense of leadership. They're just genuinely terrible people to work for, right? They quit their job because they hated their boss, and now they're that boss that they now hate or they hated. So hope that makes sense. So I want to share this with you because I don't want you to be that person. And if you are, obviously admit that you suck, and let's talk about how to get better. So let's talk about candidate generation, right? How do we generate high-level candidates that are actually interested in working for you and your company? And before I dive into this, I actually want to mention that you have to first think about why should somebody that is talented and qualified, why should they work for you? And if your answer is team culture, if that's what you said, and in the back of your head, you know that your team culture is shit, you're lying to yourself and you're doing a disservice to your team members. The second thing is pay. They're salespeople. They get 100% commission, right? If you're paying them a higher commission, great. But there's also no deals coming in. The on-track earnings is low, or OTEs. You're going to hear me talk about that for a bit, is low. They're probably not going to stay for long. Next thing I'll talk about is growth potential. Is there any opportunity for the team member as an acquisition manager, for example, to grow into a high-level position where they're a manager, a leader, things like that? If not, they're probably not going to stay with you long because high-level people want high-level opportunities. And if you cannot provide a high-level opportunity to your acquisitions team, or your team in general, you're not going to have a team for long. And I say that because that was me. I went through that. So I'm telling you, that way you do not go through that. So you can have the reward without the scar, right? So going back, candidate generation. We run ads. We're going to be talking about the acquisition manager specifically because that's the easiest one to talk about. That's something I'm pretty fucking good at, is hiring acquisition managers, training them, ramping them, etc. But it all starts with our ads, right? As you can tell, I'm a pretty big ad guy. I love running ads, and hiring is no different. So for us, I'll actually share with you guys the ad that we're running. So my editor, Aaron, will throw up this ad right here of how we interview and how we acquire or generate candidates. So check it out, copy it, something for yourself.
Acquisition managers, are you sick and tired of the fact that your current wholesaling company that you're working for simply isn't generating enough quality leads or appointments? If so, we're looking for trained and experienced acquisition managers to join our client's team in order to scale them to the next level. You'll be provided with high quality inbound motivated seller leads who are actually looking to sell as soon as possible. So if you believe you have what it takes to join a crushing and a winning wholesaling company, I encourage you to click the link down below, fill out the short application, and I look forward to having you on the team.
So I hope you enjoyed that little snippet of our landing page, our ad. And the funny thing, and to go off of that, to hope to make it make sense, what I've noticed is that the best acquisition managers, the best salespeople, are already working somewhere, right? They're not going to be lingering around in Facebook groups. They're not going to be jumping around on Craigslist or surfing Indeed, because if they were good, they'd be working for somebody. They'll be selling for someone, closing for someone. So for us, we try to provide high-level acquisition managers with a better opportunity to join us and our team. Some people would call it poaching, but I will consider it serving the community and serving the industry where everybody wins, right? And no, I am not lying about that. This is what I've learned, and this is my experience. The best people are working for somebody, go bring them on, right? Because here's the thing. They might be working for somebody, but they might not like their job, right? So if they come work with you, they can make the same amount of money, if not better, and be a part of a team culture that actually wants them to win, they can grow in, they're surrounded by people who they actually care about and want to help grow, they're probably going to leave them pretty fucking quickly, right? So we just got to find those people. It's easier said than done, but I will show you how I go about it, right? So after they click on that, it goes to a landing page. And I'll show you a simple look. It's a very simple landing page right here. So this is a simple landing page that we go. On the top, we have our logo. Oh, I forgot I can't draw on it. I talk about, attention to all avatar you put acquisition managers want to join a fast growing acquisition team. That's just the first step, right? And then the second step, so I'll show you the questions that we ask them in right here, right? So they come in, we ask them like, hey, we preface them, hey, we're constantly searching for high level talent. Please make sure to take your time with the responses and do your best to answer the questions in its entirety, right? We ask them, hey, what position are you looking for? And then we ask them, hey, do you have acquisition manager experience? If they click no, this is conditional logic right here. If they click no, we instantly push them out. We don't want them. They're not who we're looking for. Yes, can you bring somebody from the street and turn them into an amazing acquisition manager? Absolutely. Is that something I want to go to? Not really, right? I'd rather hire somebody who's been there, done that. That way we can move faster. Ask them how do they hear about us and how they can apply. I ask because some people get referred to us. Some people come through our website, our YouTube, things like that. What offers have you worked on? How much have you made at your last? How many deals were you closing? Things like that. So I ask those questions. Now, after they submit that form, which is what I showed you on the first page, going back to the funnel, the second page we ask them, or we tell them, is like, hey, schedule an interview below. And the way I do this is actually a group interview. So I'm trying to see, the biggest I'm trying to see is who's willing to, get out of the way, who's the gray wolf or the white wolf, black, you guys get the point, that's willing to stand up against the crowd and answer the question first, right? Who is an outcast versus who is a same sheep, white sheep. Oh my God, you guys get the point. So that's what I try to do. That's why I do group interviews. Plus, it's faster. And then from there, we do initial one-on-one interviews. But point is, this page, we have a job description. We talk about OTEs. So OTEs on the left right here is on-track earnings, what their schedule looks like, what the offer is. So we break them down on what the offer looks like, job benefits, about our company, our core values. Oh my God, this is one of the most important things that I see people have, but they don't use it correctly. What do I mean? I mean, wholesalers have this. Here's something that's funny. I'm sure you guys have seen this, but there are some wholesalers out there that have mission statements all around their offices or all over their Facebook page where it's like, my goal is to serve my community. And then you go in a Facebook group and you see that they're post like, hey, I just made $100K off of this seller. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying there's a fallacy there, which I think is really funny. But for us, we exemplify three main core values for us here at our company, right? So I have unassailable character. So it's who you are as a person. Unrivaled client support. So for example, if a client decides to work with us, if you're a wholesaler, you decide to work with us, we value putting your business as if it was ours. So let's break down specifically my core values, right? Unassailable character. As you can see, onboarding leaders who raise the performance of our team's output and the success of our clients. Unrivaled client support. The way I treat this is we want to treat our clients and their businesses and provide a white glove service, right? So you have a core value, but you have to have a definition and action items alongside it, because core values, mission statements, they help dictate behavior and culture within your team, right? That's the reason we have core values, at least why I have core values. Competitive innovation. We want to consistently be innovating, coming up with new things ahead of the curve, be ahead of the curve against our competitors, right? Going back, I actually want to dive to the first one. And the way I look at it is unassailable character breaks down to a few main things, right? There's extreme ownership, right? Take accountability for your actions, good or bad. Coachability. Are you willing to get better? Are you willing to consistently be a student of the game, right? You have unrivaled work ethic. You outwork everybody, specifically on the high leverage things, and leadership capabilities. We want to hire leaders. And we tell our clients, hey, you want to hire somebody that is a leader. Otherwise, they're a follower. And for me personally, and the company that I want to build to serve the clients that we want to serve, we're not looking for followers. We're looking for leaders, right? So required traits. What does success look like for you? because they have to know what they're optimizing for. And then, hey, sounds good, schedule an interview. They schedule an interview, and you have the interview with them. But after, obviously, you know me, I like to have a thank you page. Thank you for scheduling with us. And for me, we have a team culture video. And my editor is going to throw that up in a second here. But our thank you page is really simple. It's a message from the founder. Hey, thank you for scheduling an interview with us at our team. We're super excited to speak with you, yada, yada, yada. Just simple. It's nothing too crazy. But we have a team culture video that really, really helps us stand out apart from our competition. And I'll have my editor throw it up in a second. That way you can check. And I just want to show you, like, this is who you're competing against. I'm not a wholesaler. I flip and do private money lending. But point is, you are competing against other wholesalers that have things like this. So if you don't have this, you're missing out on talent that would double or even triple your company. Because if you hire one amazing acquisition manager, they'll close all these deals and you make a shit ton of money, right? You'll make so much money, you'll be more scared of your tax bill than knowing where your next deal is going to come from, right? That's what we're trying to do. So the purpose of the team culture video or intro to the company video is to show them a little teaser of what it's like to work at your company. So my editor will throw it up right now, and I hope you enjoy it.
I give this advice all the time. Life is too short to be in a job that you hate. I love this job. It is so much fun getting into the middle of the clients.
You know, my excitement for the future is what's being built, but also knowing that this group is only going to get better, going to get stronger, going to get faster. And that's going to be that real incentive to wake up. One thing that, from this team retreat and, the kind of hashtag that I take away from, this event is once you realize that the thing that you thought was impossible and you see it happen, you can't go back. Now it's not impossible. And that's the one thing that, every time I'm told it is impossible, my first thing is all I have to do is prove it once that it's not impossible.
I think this applies to both our team and our clients. I'll give it this word: results. There's the word that describes both deals, because that's what we're all set on. Like that's the tip of the spear. If we can't deliver results to our clients, what are we doing? I mean, why are we even in business, right? No one wants to just throw money away on a hope, a dream, a maybe. That's not what they're after. They want actual results that get them a better ROI. They want more money out than they put in. I mean, that's just the name of the game, right? And so our entire team is focused on delivering those results for our client.
So we have candidates. We have people that have applied. Now we actually have to interview them, right? So what are we interviewing them for? The way I do it is I look at our scorecard. Our scorecard is what we're grading them on in the name. It's in the name, scorecard. Anyways, results and outcomes. What are the results that we aim for? Competencies. What are they good at? And native geniuses, right? These are things that we're looking for in our conversation, right here. Competencies and results, right? I mean, I'm not going to read them all to you, but you kind of know what you can pause it and read them for yourself, right? So these are the things that we look for. This is how we grade acquisition managers after we do the initial interview, right? The initial interview being the group interview. So this is our one-on-one interview, right? Now, you found the right person. He looks great. He sounds great. He doesn't look like he's full of shit, and he looks like he can make you a fuck ton of money, which is why you hired him. Let's make sure we onboard him properly and become an effective manager to make sure that he actually performs and lives up to his highest potential. So Day 1 and 2 to us is the onboarding. So this is more the tech onboarding. So their contract, access to courses, tech stack. So CRM, Slack. We use Slack. It's communication. It's like Discord. Team manual. So it's like your playbook, your SOP. We have one for our clients as well, which I don't know if it's here, but I can show you that right after this, right? We have KPI tracker. They have to be tracking their KPIs. It is their responsibility. A Google Calendar for us, we like to have our clients, for our team. Calendly, this is the scheduling software that we use, and payroll setup because they actually want to get paid. I know, right? It's so crazy that, anyways, we're not going to get into it. Day 2, understand the 4 W's, who we're selling to, what we're selling, why we're selling it, and there's another one I can't remember, right? What is the offer? What are they buying? I talk about the average daily routine. So you're typically shadowing somebody. What are the 8 beliefs of sales? So it's like, it's pain / problem. It's doubt. It's consequence. It's desire. It's money, decision makers, and trust, right? So those are the 7 or 8 beliefs of sales that we use for our clients, for negotiating with sellers, right? Access to close call recordings. If you don't have call recordings, I think that's not even compliant. But if you're doing business, you should be recording all your calls. And if you're not, start recording them, right? A reversing engineer to hit KPIs. So this is something that we do with our team and we do with our clients' team. So we show them, like, hey man, you want to make $15,000, $20,000 per month. Here's how many calls, here's how many contracts, here's how many XYZ KPIs you need to hit in order to make it happen, right? So when it comes to motivating them, getting them back aligned, when it comes to hitting their KPIs, we can always point it there, right? 3 to 7, for us, we like to shadow top closer, but then after that, we do a bit of role play and just send them straight to the phones, right? They could sit, watch course videos, watch people sell all day long, but they're not going to get real practice until they're actually on the phones, right? So for us in our company, and our clients' companies, I should say, after the first few days, they feel like they're ready. They give us the green light. We just throw them in the fire, right? The easiest analogy I can make is like, let's say you're playing soccer, because I used to play soccer. You can only practice so many drills, so many huddles, so many free kicks, and then you can take all those skills, go into a real game, and just absolutely shit the bed. Right? So you won't learn until you're actually in the game. That's the way I look at it, right? Next, let's talk about management and daily processes. The way I do it is every single morning we have a sales huddle. It's funny because I know some of the clients and some other wholesalers, they don't even do this. They just wake up, clock in, and fire away, which, if that's working for you, great. For us, we want to maintain high company culture and make sure everybody has great energy before they start smiling and dialing. So morning sales huddles, they typically don't go more than an hour, 45 to an hour max. We talk about wins. What are some wins you have? We want to get everybody in good mood, almost like manifesting success. So announcements. This could be somebody you just hired on, somebody that, some changes in marketing, whatever the case is, whatever you want to announce. You're the leader. It's self-explanatory. KPIs, we want to go through everybody's KPIs, projections. Are they on track to hit their goals? Are they not? What to do to fix it, etc. And then call reviews and role play. We want to constantly getting our salespeople to be doing better. Think of this as game tape, right? This is what call reviews is. This is how we do it. And that's the easiest way I can break down management processes without making this video 3 hours long, right? Because we're already an hour in. Next thing is how to prevent burnout. So this is a clip. This is a screenshot from our playbook, our acquisition manager playbook on what to do to prevent burnout or a dry streak, right? What do you do about it? So I'm not going to read this entire thing, but you set clear goals and prioritize. Take regular breaks throughout the day. Go piss, drink water, etc. Practice self-care. Get good sleep. Salespeople, I've seen wholesaling companies buy Whoop bands, and if you don't know what a Whoop is, I don't know where mine is, but it's basically like a fitness tracker where you could track your sleep, track your heart rate, things like that, and you can have everybody in a team, right? And you could track who got good sleep, who's got bad sleep, whose heart rate is 100 beats per minute at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? I'm just joking. Keep a positive mindset. How do you keep a positive mindset? Communicate with your team members, manage time, seek help when you need it. Don't be willing to step up, ask for help when you need it, and take action. and continuous improvement, which is very similar to number 7, right? So that's what we do. I'm not going to read through the entire thing. You pause it, read it for yourself. The goal, if you're hesitant, is take it, implement it into your book or into your playbook, and use it for yourself. Finally, we're not done yet. This is the last step of team and management. Okay, we have one more after this. I'm super excited to share with you the last one because it's my favorite part. So, leadership principles that have served me, right? And I want to talk about how this actually came up to be. And this happened a little over 2 years ago, right? So Jay Curry lesson, this is a friend of mine. But the way it happened is I was going to one of my friends and I was basically telling him how upset I was that my team was not performing the way they wanted. They were just simply, like I said, clocking in, clocking out. They just weren't giving their fullest potential. They weren't maximizing the effort that they could have, right? And it really upset me because a lot of opportunities went through the cracks and we weren't growing as fast as we should, which really upset me. So I went to him. I was like, hey, man, I think we got something that's either a marketing issue or a sales team issue. So he's audited my processes already. And he said, hey, dude, that's not your problem. I'm like, well, shit, what the fuck is the problem then? So he actually made me pull up a recording of my sales huddle because we were doing it over Zoom. If you have an in-person office, that's also good as well. Obviously, it's harder to record those. But for us, we were doing it over Zoom, and I sent him the Fathom link or the recording link. He watched it. He's like, dude, we found the problem. You're a shitty leader. I was like, well, thanks for telling me. How do I fix it? So this is pretty much the start of every single lesson that you see here. And things that he told me and things that I have learned in the process of being a better leader for the team. So one of the first ones is understand why your team or why someone should work for you. This goes back to the recruiting offer or the recruiting playbook, right? Why should somebody work for you besides the money and taking care of their families, right? So if you actually have to understand why somebody works for you, it helps out a lot, right? Because somebody could be working for you because they genuinely want to join you on your mission, right? Whatever that is. If somebody else doesn't really have a good reason or why they should work with you so transparently, you don't deserve quality talent. I will be the first to tell you. Because if you have good people or if you have a good company and people want to work for you, they will come banging down your door asking to work for you. If you've seen that thing in Wolf of Wall Street, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Next, your team doesn't work for you, you work for them. Your team does not work for you, you work for them. Your employees, they do not work for you, you work for them, right? And this is something I also learned from Jared that I value a lot because we go into business and we think that just because we have employees, we get to boss people around and tell them what to do all day. But to me, and from my experience, it's actually the other way around. You work for your team, right? You're supposed to be there as a leader. You are there for your team and you support them, you coach them, you give them the necessary resources to grow and win, right? Because if they win, they grow, they make a lot of money. Guess who else makes a lot of money? You do. So put them first. That's what a good leader does in my personal experience, right? Next is dictatorship. I actually have a funny story about this. And you literally see me say it right here. It's SATX client without being a dictator. So story behind this is because we had a client in San Antonio, Texas, as you can see. And I visited their office. They had $20,000 a month in just overhead office shit like that. It was, oh my God, I could not have that. I would not want that. And I would see him talk to his team, run the sales huddles, talk to his team on one-on-one privately. And you could just see how much the team hates being there, how much they hate working for him. And they're there just for the paycheck. For me personally, and for our clients, that is not a culture that we want to build, right? So this client was yelling at his team, being passive aggressive when talking to him. He's basically being an asshole is the best way to put it. And he would do things like hold their pay hostage and disrespect them. And to me, I was embarrassed to be his client and nobody even knew. So that right there is one of the reasons why I stopped working with him because I just couldn't do that. But that's a topic for another day. So the biggest takeaway for you is try to build a culture, a team culture that puts praise over punishment, right? Praise your team for doing the right thing more than yelling at them for doing the wrong thing. Praise over punishment. So a perfect example is whenever you're running a call review, instead of sitting there yelling at them about 20 different things they could have done or they could have done better, tell them the 5 things that they did well and to do more of, right? Flip from a negative to a positive. Do it in everything you do. It's simple, but it sounds like common sense. But like I say in all my videos, common sense is not so common, unfortunately. So yeah, build a company that puts praise and lifts the spirits of your team up over trying to punish them and beat them down. Because at the end of the day, if they feel beat down every day, they're going to hate their job. And guess who loses? You do, because you're the one who has to put them on payroll, right? Next, leadership with an aligned mission and vision results in a high output team. This is what I've noticed with every single team that I've had within our company and our clients, right? When there's a proper leadership who's building the people, investing in your team, because Dan Martell has this quote that I love where it's, if you build the people will build the business, right? So if you invest in your team, you're a good leader, you put praise over punishment, you lift the spirits up, everybody loves you while still being productive, right? Because if you're just a nice guy, you're definitely not going to get shit done either. So there's a level of that. You have to be a stern leader at times, and at other times, you just have to be a genuine human being and be there for your team, right? Build the people will build the business. And if you have that, right, you teach your team the necessary skills to make them money and you money, you will grow. And that leads to a high output team, which produces results. It sounds simple, but it's not easy. It's simple, not easy, right? I tell you these as principles that I have learned, right? You still have to fail. You still have to make mistakes to grow within your company. Next, leadership is simply selling your team to do something and making them aware of how that action item can benefit not only their personal, but the professional goals as well. What I've noticed about business is everything is sales, right? If somebody wants to sell me to hop on their podcast, why should I? The first question is, why should you, right? Because that's how your team looks at it. Because if you hear them say things like, oh, that's out of my pay grade, or I don't want to clean the dishes because why should I? This is why. You have to sell them on why they should do it. Not selling the dishes and not cleaning the dishes, but you get the point, right? Like update your KPIs as an example. And now that's your daily reminder. If you didn't put in your KPIs, now's a good time to do it, right? After this video. Leadership, like I said, so you're selling your team on doing things to help them hit their personal goals. For example, if they don't make the necessary amount of dials, they're probably not going to hit their goal earnings or desired goal income-wise, and they are not going to be able to buy that house, buy that car. So you're just selling them on it, right? It's simple. That's the easiest way I break it down. And one of the last ones is, or the fourth last one is, do you really understand the purpose of core values and mission statement? Is that something you really understand, or is that something you just say and it just goes out the other day? It's almost like prayer, but I'm not going to get religious in this video. What does that actually mean to you? What do those core values mean to you? But the better litmus test is, what do those core values mean to your team? Ask them what those core values mean to them and how that impacts their daily work. Their answers will tell you whether or not that team and that culture is good or not. At least that's what I do to check with our team, with our clients. Next, to build an amazing team, you need amazing people. But the $1 million question is, how do you find them? Christian Guzman lesson. On the left here, that's Christian Guzman. If you don't know him, he runs a company called Alfleet. Alfleet is like Gymshark. They sell gym clothes. Christian Guzman, at the time that I spoke with him, when I got this lesson, he did $100 million a year in revenue with a team of 20 people. That basically means each one of his team members, his revenue per employee is $5 million per year, which is $400,000 per month per employee. And let's just say he made it every single one of his employees like half millionaires, right? He's getting a 10x return on his team, which is absolutely insane. If you've never heard of that KPI before, it's a KPI that we track, right? Return on CS, return on acquisitions team, return on marketing, things like that, right? I asked them, okay, well, if each of your team members if your revenue per employee at your team is $5 million a year or $400,000 per month each, how the hell do you find these people? Like, where the hell, like how, right? And he told me this quote that I have never forgotten to this day. It's build a vision and a company with such big ambitions that other people can fit their goals inside of yours. Meaning, if they hit their goals, if your team members hit their personal goals, you will hit your goals. And that to me hit me. It's like, how can you find an opportunity so big? Because high-level people want high-level opportunities. And if you can provide that opportunity, they will eventually come to you. What I've noticed is hire entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs. And we're not going to dive into that, but long story short, it basically means people that have tried to run a business themselves in the past, but may have not have made it, or they may have sold their company and now they're just, looking to retire, looking to chill out. Don't hire failed business owners. This is not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Hire people that have done something successful in business in another industry and bring them into this and help them grow. So that is the lesson that I learned from Christian Guzman. And on the right, that's yours truly. That's me at his gym, right? He runs one of the biggest gyms. It's called Alphaland. Anyways, next, second last is pour into your team. They should be viewed as partners, not minions. The first 4 words here, pour into your team. This is very similar to Dan Martell's quote of build the people and the people built the business, right? That's basically what that quote means. And the way you should look at your team is that they are partners in helping your company grow. They are not your little minions, unless you have VAs. Anyways, I'm just joking. Do not get offended, please. Don't cancel me yet. Anyways, when it comes to acquisition managers, your sales managers, they should be viewed as your partners, right? And if you really want to put money to that, give them equity, right? But give them equity not because I said so, but because you want to retain them. That's why most people do equity, right? Your team are not your minions. Don't be a dictator. You're not Guru, the fucking dude with the long nose and the suit jacket. You're not him. I don't know minions. I've never watched it. You guys get the point. I'm not going to make this difficult. Lastly, implement team feedback surveys. What the hell is a feedback survey? Why the hell are you running so many feedback surveys, Ben? I'll tell you. Typeform is a great investment. I don't have an affiliate, but I have a few questions here. And the way I do this is it's actually anonymous, right? So in the form, as you can see, there's no question here where it asks for the name of your team. And the way I do this is I send this to my team anonymously throughout the month. So I send it in the Slack channel or mass text it out to the team. I'm like, hey guys, please fill out the survey, trying to get better, right? We want to get some feedback. This is great for leadership. And this is something that I've noticed that has helped a lot. One of the first questions I ask is, what should Ben do to become a better leader, a CEO, and a business owner, right? I just want to get their open opinion. It's not multiple choice. It's an open, I just want my team to speak their thoughts anonymously. And to me, it has helped a lot. What do you like most about working here, right? What do they like? They like X, Y, and Z. Awesome. What do they hate most about working here, right? So you get to see, they hate this person, they hate that. Like you'll see sometimes where they'll hate one specific person. And you might go to them and be like, hey man, how do you think things are going? How do you think the team is treating you? Oh, they treat you like shit. What do you think that is, right? What is their ultimate goal here? Do they want to become a sales manager? Do they want to become a COO? Do they want to be a CEO? What does that look like, right? Would they ever consider leaving the company? If so, why? This is the question, transparently, that I pay attention to the most, because one of the most costly things in any business is team churn, right? It costs a lot of money to recruit, onboard, train, and ramp your team. So I want to minimize team turnover, churn, as much as possible. And this is how I do that. Any additional comments, thoughts, and feedback? Open journal, say whatever you want, right? So that's that. The next thing I want to talk about is meetings. Here's how I look at them. I've seen a lot of companies, and I used to have this mistake. Meetings should have a purpose. If you're just meeting to sync, you're wasting time. That's what corporate salespeople do, and that's why they don't care about making money, because they get $200K base salaries. Anyways, it's funny because I have a client who is in tech sales, and that's what he told me. Anyways, meetings have 2 purposes. The first one is to solve a problem and a constraint. If you hop on a meeting and the first question you should ask is, what problem are we trying to solve? If there's no problem, probably shouldn't have a meeting. Or alignment on the goal and the North Star, right? Consistently emphasize to the team what the goal is and how that's going to benefit them. If you're not doing any of that, it's a circle jerk session, right? Huddles are not meetings. Huddles are huddles, right? You're huddling with the team to get better. At least I don't look at it as a huddle. A huddle or a meeting is like when everybody's on the team and you see one guy that's playing on his phone, another guy that is half asleep. To me, a meeting is like a company-wide meeting, if that makes sense. So I should probably emphasize, say, company wide meetings, right? And the final thing that I actually want to talk about is mission and vision. And this is a perfect example that I like to share with my team. By team, I mean my editor, my creative director watching this. So Aaron already knows, but everybody should have a why, right? I know people that have their own whys, like, hey, they got bullied when they were a teen. They want to be successful now, take care of their kids, take care of their family, yada, 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 right? Everybody should have a why. For me, I have my own why. These first 6, I blurted out for for obvious reasons. But the big thing I want to highlight is number 7 right here, right? And this is pretty much why I created content. I actually want to read this to you. Create content for the struggling kid who wants something better for himself. The kid who worries about being homeless. The kid whose parents are fighting every night about bills. For the kid who's seen as an outcast in school. For the kid who is lonely every night and tries to fit in. For the kid whose parents don't believe him or support him. For the kid who knows he's going to be somebody and just needs the right opportunity. Do it for that kid. Do it for that kid who was in your shoes. Do it for the 12-year-old Ben. Now, this is my example. Have your own example. This is me. You can't copy. I mean, you can copy it. It's probably not going to resonate, but this is what works for me. And when you share that with the team, they can see why you're bought into it. And you have to truly mean it. And it has to be the truth because your team is not stupid. And if you treat them that way, they're not going to be with you for so long, right? Now, that was a very long one. That was a very long leadership and training. And I know that this is actually going to be its own separate training. But this is the last part. This is the 4th step to unfucking your wholesale business. And it all comes down to the numbers. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. But men and women lie about their numbers, which fucks everything up. So let's talk about that. So we're going to talk about what it truly means to track your metrics and data integrity. I want to highlight there, data integrity. Data integrity, if you don't know, that basically means having accurate data, right? Closers messing around with their KPIs to improve their close rates, stiffing you on commissions, things like that. Anyways, you guys get the point. More specifically, we're going to talk about the metrics that matter most, how to actually understand the story that they're trying to tell us, and how to use theory of constraints to scale. Now, what do I mean by this? Every business or every metric in the business should tell you a specific story of what's going on in the company. If it's not telling you anything, it doesn't fucking matter, right? So with that said, I want to start off with what I look at, the big 4. And I call these a big 4 for a reason. If I go into a company, most wholesale companies, I ask for these 4 KPIs and it will tell me pretty much everything I need to know about that company. Now, if I talk to somebody and they don't know what these KPIs are, I already know there's a problem. That is the problem. How do you improve something that is not being tracked? You can't. So start fucking tracking it, right? First thing, return on ad spend. Return on marketing spend is another way to put it because not everybody's running ads. So the easiest way to calculate it is revenue generated. So it's revenue generated divided by amount spent on marketing. That's your ROAS. For example, if you made $100,000, you divide that by, let's say you spent $10,000 in ad spend, right? So rev, that is a 10x ROAS, which is very, very healthy because KPI for wholesaling businesses minimum should be a 3x. Like for us at our company, Bolt Deals, for our clients, the minimum KPI that we track for to determine client success rate is the clients must have a minimum of a 3x return on ad spend, right? And if you're curious, last month, which was what, January, we were at an 86%, 87% or something client success rate. So 87%, 86% of our clients achieved a 3x or higher return on ad spend with our marketing, right? Again, basically just tells us how profitable our marketing is. And the KPI that we really want to aim for is 5x. We want a 5x ROAS and plus, because that helps with profitability and helps us scale with our marketing, right? We can reinvest that money and then scale it. Next is average assignment fee. How much profit are we making per deal? We aim for $20,000 minimum average assignment fees. And we could talk about like how increasing your average assignment fee is going to increase your profit. And I'll go through that real quick. The average assignment fee in the United States, from what I've seen, is like $8,500 to $10,000. But what I'll tell you is, let's use this example. If you're doing, let's go down here. If you're doing 10 deals, 10 deals at 10K a pop, and let's just say you do $200,000 by the end in annual. These are easy numbers. These are just easy generic numbers, right? If we double your average assignment fee, so this goes to 20,000, right? So this is the only number. This is the only number that changes, and you're still doing the same 10 deals. Everything else in your business doubles. I mean, this is probably not the best. I probably should have taken time and came up with a better example. But the point is, if you close the same number of deals and you double your average assignment fee per deal, you double the amount of revenue that you're going to make, right? I don't know what the hell this is, right? But hopefully that makes sense, right? Run the numbers for yourself. That's what we do. This is how we leverage theory of constraints. Next thing is cash conversion cycle. So this is basically calculated by the timeline it takes from the lead submitting into our CRM to actually closing. What is the average, right? On the deals closed. For us, we aim for less than 90 days. With outbound, for example, it's 180 days or 6 months, right? So in the span of a year, if nothing else changes besides your marketing, you double the amount of deals that you close in a single year. That's the impact. That's the power of proper marketing that solves many constraints. Because it solves your average assignment fee, because these are more motivated. It cuts down your cash conversion cycle, so you're closing more deals in less amount of time, and it's more scalable, right? So that's that. True, what the hell does that say? True scale comes from less than 45 days. So we have a client here, Carson and Grant. They're closing their cash conversion cycle is 30 days. So we're fucking pumping cash like that, right? They're making a boatload of money right now as a 21-year-old too. So finally, net free cash flow. For us, we aim it to be 40% of total revenue. And you may be wondering, what is net free cash flow? And the way I define it to our clients is how much cash can we actually take outside of the business and go blow it on stupid shit, cars, houses, boats, whatever, right? And most people talk about cash flow because I believe cash flow is more important than anything, because with wholesaling, there's a delay. There's 90-day delays to actually get the check. So there's a quote that I actually want to add as well. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash flow is reality, right? So revenue, these are vanity metrics, right? I'll tell you this because I know people that were doing $2 million a year in revenue or $200,000 a month in revenue, and they were only profiting like 30, 40,000, which is pretty shit, right? It's a little over 10%, 15% maybe, right? And profit. Profit sounds cool, but you also have to reinvest into your company. So, I mean, profit will make you feel good. For me, I look at free cash flow. Now, you may be wondering, how did I come up with that? Free cash flow is what billionaire entrepreneurs look at when they buy businesses. They don't look at, I'm sure they look at revenue, but the biggest metric they look at is free cash flow. Bill Ackman, I can't remember, he owns a hedge fund, one of the biggest hedge funds in the United States. It's either hedge fund or private equity, I can't remember. They focus on cash flow, free cash flow. Look into it if you don't know. And if your accountant won't tell you what that is, fire them and find another accountant or a bookkeeper, right? Now, let's talk about KPIs per department breakdowns. So these are just a few KPIs that I track. These are the high-level glance at them ones. So CTR, so out of 100 people that see your ad, how many actually click? CPM, cost to reach 1,000 people. Cost per MQL. not cost per lead, but cost per qualified lead. This is how we really scale. Because you can get a $10 cost per lead, but if your cost per MQL is $300, you got bigger issues, right? Lead opt-in rate / conversion rate on our landing page. How quality is our landing page when it comes to conversion? For PPC, most people start at 5%. We try to aim for 15 to 20%, right? So meaning we can run to the same traffic and we get 6 times the amount of leads. That's the power. I hope that makes sense. That's the power of having a high quality landing page that actually converts and focusing on the constraints, right? A lead booking rate. How many leads convert into an appointment, right? So you get 10 leads and 5 of them become appointments. That's a booking rate of 50%. Yep, 50%. And finally, I want to talk about our lead UTM sheet. What is our lead UTM sheet? This is a sheet that we give to all of our clients that we can track the performance of their campaign. This is obviously a sample, but we can track stages of leads. So how many leads, how many contracts, how many of them are lost, right? By status, same thing, where they're at, right? This is all-time data. This is the high-level KPIs that we look at directly, and then lead count breakdown, and it goes up flow charts like that. And then lead status, etc. It goes up, down, up, down. You guys get the point. It's a spreadsheet. And then on the second page of the sheet, I was going to show, but I can't draw on it, which is why I didn't want to do it. We put the name of the client here, and we track what where the stages are, and how many touch points. So the way it works is they put the date, the campaign. So the beautiful thing about how this works is whenever a client gets a deal under contract, we can go back into the campaign and see exactly where that lead came from. So which campaign is performing versus which is not performing. And this is how we scale. This is by far one of the strongest marketing tools that we've used and we built out for our clients that has 3, 5, 8, 10x the results of their marketing by having proper data of what's working, what's not of every single lead. So this is really, really powerful. And this is something that I take true pride in when it comes to something we built for our clients, right? So this is the page and we're able to track everything. So what state the lead is in, projected assignment fee, so profit, how many touch points, they just check it off as they go. They're lead managers, follow-ups, so different phone numbers, last contact dates, follow-ups, things like that, and notes, right? This gives us and our team the ability to go into this sheet for every single client, just optimize off of this because we have real data. Because the issue that I see is that a lot of media buyers for agencies are optimizing around the wrong data, right? They're optimizing for a lowest cost per lead. But if you want the lowest cost per lead, go call some lists, right? Go to the tax office and call those people. What we're optimizing for is most MQLs, lowest MQLs, marketing qualified leads. So we use this sheet to be able to pinpoint exactly where the best leads are coming from, and we can put more budget into what's working, turn off what's not working, right? So that's how we do that. This right here, this second page, this is just a lead log. So all the leads would come here. So all the leads would populate here, information, and also populate here, right? So this is what we use. This is by far one of the coolest tools that we've used. I've thought about giving this away, but I think transparently, this is so powerful, I probably won't. So apologize about that. You already see it, so you can go build one for yourself, right? So we have a dashboard, is the way I break it down. We have a tracker. So this is our tracker, and this is our lead log, right? So those are just marketing KPIs. Let's talk about sales KPIs now. Let's talk about the KPIs that I track, right? So we have lead to contract. So how many leads convert into an actual contract? For some baseline KPIs, if you're running Facebook ads, at least you should get one deal, one contract out of 20 to 25 leads that come in. On PPC, it should be 1 out of 10 to 12. Next thing is contract to close. KPI is 70%. If it's more than that, you have an acquisitions issue because you're either locking up shitty deals or your dispo people generally suck, right? Which is okay. Cost per contract, obviously, this is really market dependent. But for example, if you're local plus / semi-nationwide, it should not exceed $3,000 cost per deal, or cost per contract, $2,500 to $3,000 cost per contract. Cost per deal, the highest I've seen is $4,000 or $5,000. And this is where you're in a specific market like Los Angeles, as an example, or like Tacoma, Washington, Seattle, where the beautiful thing is the average assignment fee is also like $20,000, $30,000. So your return on ad spend is there. You're putting in $4,000 or $5,000. You're getting $30,000, $20,000, $30,000 out. That's still 4 to 6x ROAS, which is really good. ROAS, as I mentioned before, return on ad spend, is minimum 3. Target ROAS is 5x, right? Now, let's talk about finance. As a CEO, financials should be something you're proficient in, because if your company's not profitable, why the hell are you in business, right? And if you don't care about profit, send it to me. Give me the profit. I'll take care of your profit, right? I'll take real good care of it. Trust me. I'll reinvest into S&P 500. I'll build my wealth. I'm just joking. You guys get it. Marketing expense. How much are you spending? Payrolls and commissions. What percentage of that? Softwares, overhead, legal, finance, coaching, and free cash flow. These both have specific percentages that they should not exceed. So you should pull out your P&L and see what percentage of this line item is against your revenue, right? So marketing for us should not exceed 20%, 20 to 25% of your marketing budget, right? Over revenue divided by rev, right? Payroll, I mean, this I'd say is around 30%. X less than or equal to 30% is typically what I see between acquisition managers and dispo, and then payroll, etc. Softwares, this should not exceed like 5%, I think. 5%. Legal and finance, these two should also not exceed 5%. So that's 50. So, yep. So all of this equals about 60%, I believe. So that's 50, 60. Yep. 60% minus 40% plus 40% free cash flow. This is your profit. This is how we look at finances. And I'll say something, and this is something that I believe. I believe that I can look, and I've done this obviously multiple times. I believe that I can look at somebody's P&L and a wholesaler's P&L, and I know exactly what the problem in their business is. Because cash, oxygen, profit, free cash flow is the bloodline of your business, right? It's oxygen to the company. If you don't have cash flow, it's going to be hard to scale, because what are you going to do? Pull out a loan? And transparently, for pulling out a loan and getting debt to scale a wholesaling company, I pray that works for you, and I hope that's worth it, because I don't know. People, it's your money. Do whatever you want, right? I wouldn't do it. Right? I would force my way through it. Now, let's talk about leveraging theory of constraints to scale the company. Now, let's talk about what theory of constraints is and what it states. The theory of constraints basically states that a system, a business, is only as strong as its weakest link, right? The goal here is to identify the weakest link, or in other words, the lowest number that, if solved, will unlock the most throughput in the company. So you saw the example with the assignment fee, the cash conversion cycle. Let's use a perfect example, right? So let's look at this right here. Our marketing channel is cold calling. They're getting 2 deals a month. Their lead to qualification is 30%. It's low, but not as bad. Qualification to offer call is 20%. This is 25%. Contract to close is 75. Average assignment fee is 10,000. Cash conversion is 180 days. These are pretty typical KPIs. So how do we identify the constraint? Easy. What's the lowest number? Percentage, I should say. What's the lowest percentage? Because the lowest number would be 2. The lowest percentage would be the qualification to offer call. Quali to offer. Now, earlier I said each KPI tells us a story. So if you don't know, this KPI tells us that our marketing is not as efficient. In other words, it's producing shitty quality leads. So how do we fix that, right? You can either look at what your marketing is coming from, or why your marketing is shit, and fix it. Now, I'm pretty biased, as you tell, but marketing channel is cold calling. So let's talk about new KPIs. We take the exact same numbers, we switch it. The KPIs we switch to is Facebook ads, which is a better marketing channel because people are raising their hands, serious sellers who need to sell as opposed to just wanting to sell. Deals increased, qualification rate stayed the same, so we can cancel this out. Offers to contracts, I think, stayed the same. Offers increased a little bit, but it increased because this increased. Contract to close also increased because when you get better people on the phone and you make offers to better people and those deals actually sell, the numbers go up. I know, it's crazy. This is wrong right here. It's not 150,000, it's 115,000, right? So what did we notice improve here. We doubled our qualification to intro call rate. And as a result, everything else increased. Now, this is a hypothetical example. No, this is actually a real example, but I wanted to forecast it here in order to show you that this is what it looks like whenever you're using data to scale your business, right? If you fix one bottleneck, one constraint in your business, you can unlock 4x different growth, right? That's how we use theory of constraints. And the only change we did is our marketing. This is what we did. We fixed our marketing, and as a result, everything else increased. This is exactly why clients do inbound marketing. This is why our clients do inbound marketing. That way they could scale their business faster, easier, better. Cash conversion rate went down. That's also a lagging indicator. But anyways, next thing I want to talk about, and the final thing I want to talk about, and before I dive in, actually, if you stick to the end, I will actually give you the sheet as a thank you for sticking to the end. So just reach out to me on Instagram or something, or comment below, and I will probably send it to you, right? So this is my thank you to you for sticking till the end. So with that said, let's talk about running forecasts and projections. So why the hell do we run forecasts and projections? It's simple. So we know how much money we're going to make in the upcoming months. So here's how this works. This is a forecast sheet that we use for all of our clients to be able to project where their business is going to be at in the next 6, 12 month and beyond, right? So on the left right here, we would plug in their KPIs, right? So for example, they're spending like $3,000 per month on the management fee, $5,000 a month on ads. So that's $8,000 per month in marketing. And then I forgot to put it in because obviously it's not here. Average time fees $18,000. This is their marketing KPI. So $100 cost per lead, $30 lead to appointment to deals is 10, contract to close is 80%. And this is not right because I still did not put a number here. But point is, we go to the right, we're able to project where the business is going to be at, in the next 12 months, basically, right? This is the power of running forecasts and projects. You use your baseline KPIs and you're able to project where the business is going to be at. So here's how we use this for our clients. Once a client works with us for a sufficient amount of time, that's 2 months, 3 months, whatever the case is, we are able to sit down with them and project where the business is going to be at, which is literally what I just said, using this tracker, right? It's not obviously to a T, but it gives us a lot of clarity and a ballpark where the numbers are going to be. So you could see, new leads that came in, total database, appointments, projected contracts, deals closed, revenue, expenses, etc. Right? This is how we scale our clients and actually give them financial clarity, because most people don't even know how many deals they're going to close next month, how much money they're going to make next month. And me personally, that is not how I want to operate my business, because that sounds pretty shitty in my opinion, right? So we use trackers like this to be able to project that and scale the business. So with that said, that's all I have for this video. I know it was a long video and I hope you got tremendous value out of it. I really, really enjoyed recording this video. It is 11:30 p.m. and nothing fills me more than creating content that delivers real value, talks about the shit that nobody else talks about, true business education that scales wholesalers, makes you a fuck ton of money, and you can thank me one day if we ever meet, right? So if you enjoyed this, please do not forget to like the video. I put a lot of effort into this, and I hope my editor will as well, because this is almost 2 hour recording. Please comment any questions, any concerns. If you want this tracker because you stuck to the end, let me know, right? Reach out. This is my thank you gift to you, as well as subscribe, right? I am obviously producing a good amount of content on a weekly basis. And if you want to see that, more business, more high level education to scale your wholesaling business, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. And finally, if you are a virtual wholesaler who's doing 2 or more deals per month and you're looking to scale your wholesaling business, your flipping business with inbound marketing, with the entire process that I just showed you, click the link in the comments, schedule a call with either me or a member of my team. And I'd love to sit down and walk you through the entire process as to how this all works, what it would look like if it was implemented into your company, and how much money we can make together specifically for you and your team. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of notes and value out of it that you're going to implement to your business. And with that said, my name is Benjamin, CEO and founder here at Bolt Deals, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.